Hello.
Okay, so hello everyone. Welcome to the episode of Connecting with Kerrie Phipps. This is episode number 49. And for those who haven't met me before, my name is Sam Lee and I'm the founder of Connect with Confidence. And I'll be the interviewing Kerrie. How are you today, Kerrie?
Hi, Sam. It's great to be here. Yeah, I'm very well, thank you.
Sounds good. Thanks for joining in.
Well, it's great to connect with you recently in Sydney.
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely fate to meet up. So yeah, Kerrie, tell me about what did you do over the last weekend?
Last weekend, I can't actually remember last weekend. I've been thinking about this weekend. I was down at the beach just near Canberra, 2 hours from Canberra. So I don't know if I've had a weekend since then. Maybe just reorganizing the house, starting to get ready for Christmas. But this weekend coming is a bit exciting because it's my husband's significant birthday, and we've got family and friends coming and doing all kinds of exciting connecting. You know, we often just have a party for someone's birthday, but my husband's not really into parties. So I said, well, how about like walks along the river, coffee meetups, because he loves coffee, going to some of our favorite cafes, and board games and drama games and stuff. He doesn't know about that. That's a secret, but hopefully he won't watch this before Sunday. I was telling him, don't worry about watching Sam's video. We'll watch that later.
Yeah.
So a few little surprises for him. So that's fun.
Sounds good. Any travel plans for the Christmas break?
No, we'll be at home enjoying time around Dubbo, which is nice because I've been traveling quite a bit lately, and we've got lots of family around here, and the summer is not too intense at the moment. It's even been cool. So no, we'll have some beautiful days here.
That's true, very true. So well, so what do you like to do outside of work? What's your hobbies? What's your passions? That kind of stuff.
Well, I do really love a meaningful conversation, and especially if it's in water or near water. So I do love going to the beach. I love going swimming, and I've been really unwell the last sort of month, getting over COVID and glandular fever and the flu, and I had to drop my swimming habit. I was swimming like 5:30 in the mornings, which is not kind of like me, but maybe it's the new me. I don't know, but I've been loving going to the pool before the sun comes up, and not every day because it's like exhausting, but yeah, I'm getting back into that habit, which is beautiful. So I just love being near water. I love being in nature, and I love conversations over good food and good coffee as well. And yeah, there's some great cafes around here, and introducing people to those things. I'm kind of like, you know, a natural ambassador for, you know, all things good. It's like, come and meet these people, or come and discover this cafe, or have you tried this like amazing sushi or something. So yeah, and I do like writing and reading, and occasionally I'll do something creative like painting something.
Sounds fun.
Yeah,
I guess you like to hang out more with friends and that kind of stuff, and swimming, that kind of stuff. Yeah, so now is a good time to swim because it's getting summer, and then it's good to go to the beach and then soak up with water, and yeah, back to the sunbake.
It's very refreshing. And just in the last 24 hours, I'm appreciating the purr of a kitten. I've put out shout outs all over Facebook. We're looking for the owners of this kitten, and everybody thinks it's just ours. I'm like, I'm not sure about that. This kitten has been loved, well looked after, well toilet trained, but we're just enjoying it while it's here. I haven't had a cat for a few years, and Lyndon said, you can't have a cat because you travel too much, and I'm like, I know. So friends are offering to look after it, but not committed to keeping the cat, for those who are wondering. But we're enjoying it right now.
That's cool. So where did you find the cat?
At our front door. So a stranger came and knocked on the door and said, do you know whose kitten this is? And she knocked on all the doors in the street, and she went out there talking to strangers, trying to find a home for this kitten, and I shared it on Facebook, and she couldn't keep it, so she said, you know, can I look after it? So it's just here for the interim. And we're enjoying it.
Keeping yourself company. That's really good. Yeah. So are you more of a cat person, or are you more of a dog person?
Well, look, I don't know. I've always been more of a cat person growing up, although I grew up on a farm. So we had dogs, working dogs, and like I would climb in the kennel with them and just sit with them for hours. I would take them for, you know, well, didn't really have to take them for a run like you do a regular town dog. They just ran all over the farm. But I did enjoy spending a lot of time with them, but I do love the purr of a cat as well. Dogs are dogs are more, you know, friendship builders than cats. They come and go as they please,
Yeah.
but we still can't resist them. But my son's got a beautiful dog and he's coming to visit as well on the weekend. Yeah.
Interesting. Sounds great.
Yeah.
So yeah, tell me a little bit about your what you do for work. So you're a leadership coach, you're an author, you're a podcaster, and you're a speaker. So tell me about what made you get into leadership coaching.
Yeah, well, it's been quite a journey, and I'm actually reflecting on it at the moment because it's 18 years since when I met you, maybe it was early November or late October.
Yeah, around that. Yeah.
4th of November was the 18th anniversary of when I walked into my first coach training, and it just blew me away. And I knew I was in the right place. I felt completely intimidated, really lacking confidence, but just knowing I was in the right place. So I've been reflecting on, that journey. I was working with like some really incredible people, just talking to people about, what's possible and how I've discovered this structure that helps you move from where you are to where you want to be. And, it's about the conversation with yourself, but that language didn't really come up until a year later. And I was assisting on a coach training course, and Mary, oh goodness, I was going to say another friend's name. Suddenly got 3 Marys in my head. My dear friend Mary from New Zealand said she was the lead trainer, and I was having this moment. Actually, I was thinking about this story earlier when I was thinking of you, Sam, because we have these moments of, growing in confidence, and we're connecting with people, we're learning all the time through our conversations with other people. So there was this particular day. So I'll tell you first about what Mary said to me. It was because she asked me to participate in the class, like as a trainer, to demonstrate a part of the coaching framework. And I did, but I didn't feel that I did it very well. So we did this little, like a role play, but it's a real play because you can't fake it when you're coaching. So I sit down after that, 2-3 minute conversation in front of the class, and I was beating myself up in my head. So the conversation up here was like, oh, you should have said this. You weren't very succinct. Why did you say that? You shouldn't have said that. You should have made it more succinct. And, I was just being very hard on myself and, embarrassed. And I also felt like I let her down. And so then I went to her in the coffee break, like 20 minutes later, and I said, I'm sorry, I didn't really do that as well as I could have. And she just said, so what was the conversation in your head then? And I went, oh, actually, in that moment when she asked me about the conversation in my head, I became aware that I had just wasted the last 20 minutes of the session. I didn't take in the rest of that session because I was, it was all up here, what I did wrong. And that was so powerful. And it was also that day that that weekend, that I was racing to the train from my grandparents' place to get to the train station to get to that class. And when I was buying my ticket, it was back in the day where before Opal cards, you go and you hand cash to the guy at the train station and say, I want to go to the city and return. And he gave me the ticket, but he also said, you've got something in your hair. And I realized while I had been getting ready for breakfast, I just put a little plastic roller thing just to get a little bit more shape in my hair at my grandparents' place. And I'd forgotten to take it out. Or I'd taken a couple out, but I'd left one there. So he sees this little something in my hair and pointed it out to me. And then I was thinking back, on the way to the train station, I was like, good morning to like people on the side of the road, and they're kind of looking at me. But that's this moment of connection where he could have just not said anything and just sold me the ticket, let me get on the train. But anyway, so I laughed it off and I said, thank you so much for telling me. And, well, if you're needing something to laugh about later today, then just remember this. I get on the train, and then I was suddenly shocked to realize that I wasn't embarrassed. I wasn't beating myself up. I was like more confident than I'd been before. I was like, that's amazing. Those moments where you realize you've grown in confidence. And I thought that's relevant to share with you when we're talking about connecting with confidence. When we let go of that conversation in our head, when we stop criticizing ourselves and just be with the people that we're with, and just be able to look at things with a more lighthearted lens. And that was just such a beautiful moment. I was like, this is like this moment of growth. So that was like a year into my coaching journey. But I just threw myself into all the training, did all the courses available. Then I came back as an assistant trainer to take new coaches through the program. That led me to mentoring coaches and leading an international group of coaches who were kind of more remote. You know, I was out here in Dubbo,
Yep.
and other coaches in the cities were getting together. And so I ran a Coaches Connect for 7 years for the coaching community.
Nice.
You know, kind of in our time zone, but they would join from like all over the world if they could get on. And that led, of course, to writing articles. First of all, I didn't see myself, I was not a confident person, so I didn't see myself at the beginning of my coaching journey as someone who could, you know, write books. And it was the clients that I worked with, when I saw them having these breakthroughs, I realized, and also working with coaches myself. And I think this is a really important point. A lot of people just want to become a coach, but we need to be coached, and not just do the coach training, but actually work with the coach ourselves. And so I worked with a different coach every year.
Yep.
And that was so powerful because I was able to do things that I didn't initially believe that I could. So it started with articles, it turned into to books turned into speaking. And my second book is about regional entrepreneurship. It's called Lifting the Lid on Quiet Achievers, because all these country people that have global businesses, they just, you know, one of them, Roger Fletcher, who's actually from here, Australia's biggest sheep meat exporter, and doing business in countless countries. I'm not sure at the moment, but it's extensive. And he described himself as a farmer. You know, they're quiet achievers, do big things. And I wanted to help share their stories of like what's going on up here, what's the conversation in their head when they're faced with all kinds of challenges like massive droughts and floods and fires and all the other kind of, you know, things that can go wrong for businesses in the country, you know, and everywhere. But that book took me all over Australia. And then Do Talk to Strangers, which is what connected us, I think. So this one, that's 2014, how to connect with anyone anywhere. And I can see you've got, you know, that on your
wow, that's very coincidence.
And you know, and then the Do Talk to Strangers Travel Toolkit 2018, and the latest, which I have to share, How to Talk to Strangers to Decrease Anxiety, Build Confidence, and Make a Bigger Difference in the World. And I think that's something that you know, I know you relate to as well. You know, the kindness of a stranger can really build your confidence, or you being kind to a stranger, you just taking a moment for connection can really, you know, build someone's confidence, yours, theirs, everybody's. So yeah, and then at the start of the pandemic, I started doing the Connect with Confidence podcast, which is hilarious that you've got Connected Confidence podcast too. So, you know, it's a theme, it's something that people want to know about. People want to know, how can I be connecting with people, you know, anywhere, and what kind of scenarios. It's like an endless you know, topic of conversation, because connection matters so much to each one of us.
For sure.
Cool.
All right, that's a great story. And I guess very such a fate where a lot of like what we do like is pretty much the same, like in terms of the slogan, in terms of the like the title, that kind of stuff. So that's very amazing. Like one. So
and so important, you know, it's just so important to be sharing with people. So, you know, great to connect with you and Kaylee Chu, who's actually in the latest book. I didn't point her out, but she's the reason that you and I met. After she wrote 100 Lunches with Strangers and connected with me on LinkedIn and said, let's have lunch.
And your one is pretty much and your one's pretty much the same title as Kaylee as well. Pretty much.
I love that you know, we're both connecting with strangers. I mean, I couldn't tell you how many lunches I've had with strangers, because it's been like a growing journey, I guess. I love that she just made a decision. I'm going to do this. I'm going to have lunch with 100 strangers and, you know, grow my confidence and my world. And, you know, it's extraordinary what happens. I've just kind of been on this journey for decades, and my parents are good examples. My dad always pushed me out of the comfort zone. He would always introduce me to people. He would be talking to strangers and would end up going out in someone's yacht or going in a hot air balloon because he just had a conversation and connected with somebody. So like all our stories are unique, and every person that we interact with, their story is unique and it's important. And yeah, so I'm all for celebrating sharing, putting a spotlight on human connection.
It's
Yeah.
very important. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds good. So yeah, so tell me what was your what did you do before starting this coaching journey of yours? Like what was your background?
Well, so there was the farming background. High school years were a disaster, and that's a long story. I became a dental nurse. That was my first job. So I was holding hands with strangers and comforting people. And it was a good leadership experience too, because it was a very busy surgery with 3 dentists, and there was high turnover. It's long days, and it can be challenging work, but I'd only been there a year, and I just turned 17, and then I was kind of running the surgery. There was someone in the office that had been in there for quite some time, which was amazing. But yeah, I had to have conversations with people to hire them, and I had to have conversations to help them develop their skills and their confidence. And and then I went to the bank. I kind of was in and out of dental surgeries for years, because there's probably about 5 dentists in town at the time. There's a lot more now. And so I would fill in for them, and I kept trying to leave and training other girls to take on my job because it was very full on, like long days. But so I was kind of in customer service roles, and then I worked with young people and families for about 7 years, mostly volunteer. But it was just so valuable to be in the community, being with people, and organising large-scale youth events. Admin is not my thing, I've discovered that, but making people feel welcome, helping people to feel part of a community and loved and cared for, that really mattered to me. But I was in chronic burnout and fatigue when I came across coaching. Like, I was unable to work, and doctors said, like, oh, you won't work for 5 or 10 years. And it was so dismissive, and it was so confronting. But I knew, like, in that moment when the doctor said that, I am on the planet for a purpose, and I don't know what that is right now, but I know it's not sitting on the lounge for the next 5 or 10 years. And it was kind of then, this soul searching, and that's when I came across coaching, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is me. And so many people said, you're like, oh my gosh, that's you, but what is it? So it was like this sense of like, yes, this is a total fit, but we have no idea what it is, because coaching was such a new industry. And even now, people are confused about what coaching is, because people are using that term for consulting and mentoring and training and following a system, whereas pure coaching is putting the client's genius and their ideas, their creativity, their intuition, putting all that on the table and going, okay, what are you seeing here? And not what am I as the coach seeing here. I want to be focused on the client's clarity of thinking. They want to be focused on their stuff. And so it's not about my ideas, opinions, agendas. I can put that aside to serve their thinking. And that is amazing, because that's unlike any other conversation that you have in life. Your boss tells you what to do, your teachers tell you what to do, and and sometimes how to think or what to think, not so much how to think. And so I'm really helping clients to listen to themselves, to notice the conversation in their head. So I think connecting with confidence and do talk to strangers has flowed from that awareness of self and others, awareness of conversation in my own head, and how do I have better conversations with myself and others. So quite a journey. But with all the international speaking and everything that's grown from the books, I'm still a coach at heart. I still want to help people really listen to themselves, to create outcomes that they're so proud of, that they amaze themselves. And so in the past couple of years, when I was doing How to Talk to Strangers at the beginning of the pandemic and starting a podcast, and thinking that I had so much time on my hands because we're not going anywhere, I also was introduced to positive intelligence mental fitness coaching. But I don't have time for this, just get the book done. But when you just think, maybe I better just have a look at what I said no to, because we've got to learn to say no to, all the bright, shiny objects, but not dismiss something as a bright, shiny object if it's not. And so I did the mental fitness program in 2020, sort of mid 2020, and then I was invited to do the whole coach training program and become a credentialed coach with mental fitness. So I did that. So I've been taking people through that mental fitness app program, which is just extraordinary. And yeah, I really appreciate the power of helping people listen to themselves, to connect with themselves first, because then they're connecting with others so much better. And even my husband and I, we've always been like great friends, but working together, we are so different. And we're far more collaborative, innovative, creative in our work together now. And he's far more patient with me with all of my ideas that sometimes are like 5 years ahead of him. It's just been like, yeah, quite an incredible process. And so I think that sort of helped reignite my love of coaching as well. Although even pre-pandemic, when we were planning to live in Asia in 2020, and not a lot of people know that, but that was the plan. We got 6 days in India and had to come home, but we were going to live predominantly in Asia in 2020. And so even before that, with the bushfires in Australia in January 2020, I said to Lyndon, I just feel like I need to be talking more about emotional regulation, staying calm under pressure, you know, all the neuroscience of coaching that has been so profound for me personally to manage difficult situations, to regulate emotions. I need to share that more with people. So the positive intelligence mental fitness app was such a gift to me and my clients and family and friends. So many people have done that program with me. Yeah. So it's been a nice full circle.
Sounds great. Thanks for sharing that. Appreciate that. And yeah, cool. So the second last question is, since you wrote a book on how to talk more with strangers, what are some hints and tips you can give to the viewers on how to build trust?
How to talk to strangers.
Yeah.
Well, it really is about connecting with yourself first and self-awareness. So in the book, I have the asking model. So that's an acronym. So A is for awareness, start small. I'm sorry, I'm already going into further. So the asking model is, and it's about creativity, curiosity, and permission. And it's not permission like, you know, oh, excuse me, can I talk to you? You know, sometimes we can gain permission with a look. You know, if I want to come and sit next to you on the bus, it's like, it looks like a crowded bus. I look around, I look at you, you look at your bag on the seat and you move it, you know, you've just given me permission to sit down, you know, because you saw my kind of questioning look that was like, do you mind if I sit here? I mean, maybe you use the words, but there are so many ways to gain permission to connect with somebody and to, you know, ask further questions, etc. So that's kind of like behind the scenes of the framework, the permission and curiosity, like choosing to be interested, which is also in the asking model too. But yeah, it starts with A for awareness. So just take a moment. And I think that's the key thing. Take a moment to just notice, how am I feeling right now? If you're about to walk into a networking event or a meeting or something that you want to connect well with people, if you're just charging in there going, I want to connect well, you might not connect as well as you'd like to. So just take a moment and notice, like, you know, am I nervous? Let that go. Choose your focus. So yeah, rather than like, oh, maybe there's a sense of apprehension or anxiety or pressure, or like maybe it's not about the conversation. Maybe I'm just feeling pressured about everything I've got to do when I get home tonight. So just take a moment to go, let that go. Just breathe. So it's self-awareness and awareness of others. You know, like maybe other people feel a little anxious too. And so how can we make them feel at ease? You know, can we offer them a glass of water? Can we ask them questions that are easy for them to answer, you know, and starting with a smile, which is the S in the asking model. I won't go through all of it now, but yeah, it's just those little moments of awareness, because otherwise, if we just go on default, or worse, if we try and follow someone else's script, we're not being ourselves. So it's about taking that moment to check in with yourself and be present. Yeah, because people know when you're with them or when you're, you know, trying to think of the next thing to say. Yeah, so cool. That can help you relax.
Sounds good. I like those advice that you gave me. That model is very true. Like awareness, building awareness, curiosity, and all those things like that. So all of those really click in when I actually coach my clients as well. So
yeah,
really cool.
Yeah, it really is a coaching framework. And yeah, if people would like to get a copy of the asking model, like I've got the first few chapters of the book online. So just message me, put it straight in the DMs, or on LinkedIn, it's in my featured post. You just got to go back a fair way because I've got a few podcasts up there.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
No dramas. Cool. And the last question is, how do the viewers get to connect with you? Are you on social media? What's the website? What's the social media so the viewers can connect with you?
Thank you. Well, Kerrie Phipps is my personal Facebook page. So send a note to say, hi, I'm connecting because of Sam, because that's a connection point, not just being like one of like hundreds of people that are, you know, sitting there in the request, and sometimes they get out of order. So yeah, but that's always a good policy, no matter where you are. Send a personal note of introduction if you want to connect with somebody. So, and LinkedIn, Kerrie Phipps, Kerrie, you'll have it in your tags, I'm sure. And LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, all the things.
So you just search Kerrie Phipps on Instagram, things like that, and then you'll find you.
Yeah.
Cool.
And and my website, it comes up as well. So
nice.
that's not very, it needs a refresh, actually. The website's needing a bit of a refresh, but all there, all the content's there.
Sounds good. And how long have you been podcasting for now?
Since about March or April 2020.
Oh, okay. Well, just around COVID, right? When COVID started.
Yes. And Lyndon, my husband, said, okay, now you can do a podcast, because I've been putting him off, and other people have been asking me, and I'm like, I just love that I'm invited to other people's podcasts. Like, that's easy. So thank you, Sam, again for inviting me. You know, it's a joy to be on other people's podcasts. But he said, no, you're meeting people all the time. You have like so many incredible people in your world. So get them on the podcast. He said, you just have the conversations. I'll do the editing and production. So I was like, okay, let's do it. So it's been amazing. And I just got my Spotify Wrapped, you know, my stats last night, and it was really interesting to see that, you know, like there's so many countries where people are listening from, but also the, you know, seeing what people listen to the most, and the percentage of people that are regular listeners that that listen to sort of everything that I share. So they know they're meeting. As one of my guests said, and she's an Air Force veteran and she's done like so many incredible things. She said, what I love about your podcast is that it's ordinary people doing extraordinary things. And I think we can find that in each other. We can find that everywhere. But we often downplay the extraordinary things we do, or they're not extraordinary to us because we're just doing our thing. But to somebody else, it's different and unique and extraordinary. So yeah, there's all of that.
Cool. No dramas. Well, yeah, thanks for sharing today. So that concludes today's podcast. So viewers, you know how to connect with Kerrie Phipps, very nice person, helping you to connect with people. And yeah, so if you want to find more about her, just search her on social media, connect with her. She's a great woman. And yeah, this is the end of the interview. And Kerrie, thanks for your time. I appreciate your time joining this podcast, and I'll be posting this online very soon of this podcast. Let me just edit this thing. And
thank you, Sam. Yeah, thank you. And it's so great to see what you're doing and changing so many lives. So keep it up. Keep connecting with confidence and authenticity.
Likewise. All right. Have a good one, Kerrie. Talk to you soon.
Thank you. Bye.